Yugoslavia's turmoil continues. The state's two biggest republics, Serbia and Croatia, are warning that a full-scale civil war could break out between them at any moment. And on another front, the breakaway republic of Slovenia has refused to meet today's deadline for handing back border posts to national authority. All this as three European foreign ministers hold peace talks with Yugoslav officials in an effort to avert more bloodshed. Mike Lee in Zagreb reports the latest.
In an effort to take the spotlight off of the conflict zones, today's negotiations are being held on the tiny Yugoslav island of Brioni, just off of the Adriatic coast. A troika of European community diplomats from the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Portugal are meeting with rival Yugoslav leaders. It is the third trip for the European team. Previous ceasefire arrangements have slowly eroded. European governments are staking much of their collective prestige on solving the crisis. Their main leverage is Yugoslavia's need to be a full economic partner in Europe, but the local issues are difficult to resolve. The most immediate crisis is Slovenia's refusal to give up control over checkpoints at border crossings into Europe. Today, a withdrawal deadline expired, but there was no immediate resumption of fighting along the border. Slovenia and Croatia have declared independence. They are prosperous, pro-Western republics which have been forced to share their wealth with Serbia, the larger, poorer republic run by former communists. In Croatia, the number of dead and wounded is increasing. Shooting continues between Croatian forces on the one side and Serbs, backed by some Federal Army troops, on the other side. The Serbs are a minority within Croatia. Leaders of the Serbian Republic have threatened an all-out civil war. There are so many conflicting signals, statements, and actions in this crisis that European negotiators are finding it difficult to broker a reliable ceasefire. Yet, despite the warnings and the threats, there is cause for hope. So far, rival factions have chosen not to push Yugoslavia back over the brink. Mike Lee, ABC News, Zagreb, Yugoslavia.
Joining us now from Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, the Slovenian Minister of Information, Jelko Kacin. Mr. Minister, your republic has refused to hand over border posts this morning. What can you tell us about that?
There was no necessity to give our checkpoints back to the Federation because there was never a federal administration on our checkpoints. In the past, there was always a Slovenian police force on the checkpoints, and because of that, there is no sense to give our checkpoints back, as you said, to the federal authorities.
All right, that's your position. What's going to happen next? Do you think the federal authorities will let you get away with this?
Well, we believe that after today's negotiations on Brioni, we will have a clear background of 3 points which were suggested by European Troika. And after that meeting, I believe that we can start the negotiations about the details of a possible arrangement on the checkpoints.
Well, just to pin this down, you are telling me that you do not expect that fighting will break out. You do not expect that the federal authority will move with force.
Well, the situation is not so clear. In about half an hour, we will represent a speech of General Agic, which he performed 2 days ago in a military academy. It's a great threat. It's a speech in which he prepared the officers on a new attack, which would have to be more brutal than the first one, because, as he said, it is the last chance to survive the Yugoslavia.
Some people have been reading that speech as if it were to prepare the officers for actually withdrawing and allowing your republic to go its own way, but you don't see it that way?
No, I think that you do not think on the same speech. Yesterday there was a speech of General Kadijevic, of Defense Minister, on the television, but I'm talking about another speech, a speech of General Agic, Chief of the Headquarters of Armed Forces of Yugoslavia, which he performed 2 days ago, and it was not published until now.
I see, and you believe that may take precedence over the speech delivered yesterday by the Defense Minister?
Yes, of course, there is a big problem in Yugoslavia, and the problem is called the controlling of the army. As you know, it is absolutely clear that the presidency of Yugoslavia cannot control the federal army, as the Prime Minister Markovic is in the same situation, because that 2 main bodies of the federal government do not have any influence on the army, the army and her generals are self-sufficient, and there is our biggest problem and biggest threat.
Thank you very much, Minister Kacin, for joining us today. Thank you.